Well, welcome to our February garden calendar. This month we're going to just look at some general tips of things we can do out in the garden. We're going to look at taking care of our tools and getting them ready for the spring. We're also going to look at how to clean out our sprayer nozzles. We're going to look at some bulbs we've forced over the winter, so the color that we have in our houses now. Also going to talk about ordering seed and getting things ready to get in the garden this spring. So stay with us and enjoy the February garden calendar. Okay, in the month of February, there's still several things that you can get outside and do. One of those is get ready for the bluebirds as they return. The male bluebirds are out in late January, early February. You can see the birdhouse here. Put your birdhouses up or clean out your existing birdhouses because the males are out looking for homes right now. So if they select a home, the females, when they come in later, they'll set up shop and you'll have bluebirds around your house. So be working on those birdhouses. Also, raised beds. This is the month you can actually get out there. It's dry enough, get out there or till the raised bed in. Things you can plant now are your edible peas or English peas. And then later this month, you can do spinach, kale, onions, and potatoes. So there are some things that need to be planted in February. So get out there and get busy. Okay, another thing for February is you can plant trees, some shrubs, things of that nature. October was a pretty good month, but February's not bad. If you didn't get it done in the fall, get out there and get it planted now so you can get a little bit of root establishment and growing before hot summer does kick in. Something else, if you didn't get a successful reseeding of your lawn in the fall, mid-late February, early March is a good time to reseed those bare spots if you didn't get a good reseeding. Also, with your lawns, you can fertilize. Mid-February, we usually look at the Valentine holiday as the time to fertilize your lawns. So get out there and fertilize lawns. It's the time to really fertilize it the once that you're going to do it this first half of the year. Also, you can fertilize some shade trees and things of that nature this month as well. Now, if you've got some ornamental grasses, pampas grass, whatever, now's the time to prune that off at the ground level. Get ready for that new growth that's coming. So get out there and prune all your ornamental grasses. Evergreen trees, you can also do some light pruning on them this month. And then you can prune grapevines. Now's a great time to prune grapevines now, late February, maybe the first week of March. But late February is really the ideal time to prune grapevines. Also, January and February is a time to prune your fruit trees, apples and peaches and things of that nature. So there's still a lot of things to get out there and get done in the month of February. We'll start getting a few warmer days in here. So get out there and enjoy some warm days, as we will get a few in February. So good luck. One of the things you can do in the month of February is work on your garden tools, and you can work on getting them ready, cleaning them up. Steel wool works wonders on a lot of these tools. Clean all the dirt off of them, and if you need to put an edge on them, you might use just the dirt and stuff off that's built up on your hand trowels. Steel wool really does a good job getting that off of there. Your pruners, whether it's hand pruners, a lot of stuff builds up on those. If you've got a whetstone, you can sharpen the edge on those because they do get dull over a period of time. But when you get out there working in the garden and pruning things, you really usually don't take time to clean things up, check the edge, kind of put a little oil on things, get them lubricated, ready to go for the year. Loppers the same way. Clean them up. Like I say, if you don't have much of an edge, you may need to sharpen. things up. Things lubricated and ready for the spring, because spring is on its way. Then if you've got hose, mattocks, things like that, you may need to put an edge on them. If you've got a grinder, it's a good time to go ahead and get an edge on those, because you're not going to take time typically during the course of the year. Always use goggles when you're grinding. You can always clean things up too with a metal brush. But you know, there's a lot of things to do. You can do out there in your workshop and getting ready for the spring with all your garden tools, your sprayers, clean those nozzle tips. There's a lot of things you can do. Rakes, shovels, spades, whatever. So if you get bored one February cold winter day, get out there and get your tools straightened up. Okay, another good task to do while you're waiting for spring to warm up is to clean out your sprayer nozzles and that thing. After a year of use, most people not being in here, things are usually pretty clogged up in your sprayer. You've got a little screen in there, and I don't know if you can tell, but it's pretty clogged up with gunk on it. So get you some warm water and just drop them down in there. Look up in there. There's some stuff. The Q-tips are great for cleaning out in here. You don't want to get a sharp object up in a spray nozzle, because you'll ruin your orifice. But of course, wear gloves like I'm doing. Keep any pesticide residues from getting on your hands. But you can see all the brown gunk I'm getting on my Q-tip there. To get that cleaned out, use a Q-tip on your screen. Clean that out, because that's what stops up your sprayer a lot of time. When you get aggravated when you're getting ready to spray something and it's all stopped up. So let's do a little maintenance and repair this time of year while we've got the time, because usually you're too busy in the spring and summer when you've got things to do. So okay, got that rinsed out, cleaned out pretty good. Then your nozzle. If you've got time, let it soak for a couple hours. It's not going to hurt. It's only going to help. When you get everything cleaned up good, just put her back together. Well, here we are, early February, and you can have some color in your house. I don't know if you remember on one of the garden calendar spots, I believe last October, we talked about forcing bulbs. Every year I force bulbs under my house, pot them up in early October and place them there. They really need 12 to 14 weeks on average of just cool weather, not freezing, but cooler weather. Just plant your bulbs. Here's some hyacinths. I pulled these out about 10 to 14 days ago. Set them in a window, and before they bloom, you can give them a little bit of water-soluble fertilizer, give them a little boost. But once the blooms appear, don't fertilize them. But this forces the bulbs to come out and bloom early, and you can have color in your house. January, February, usually in the drab, cold winter months of the year. Here's some hyacinths just pulled out a few minutes ago, and you can see what they look like. They're starting to open. These would come up real quick if I brought them out, but I'm going to put them back under the house and leave them for a week or so. Here's some crocuses. I'd actually pulled those out a couple days ago, and you see they're starting to green up and swell, and the flower bud will be coming out of those soon. So you can do this with tulips, daffodils, like I say, hyacinths, crocuses, whatever. But remember, next year, early October, you too can have some color in your house in late January or February. Well, in February, another task that you may want to do is order some more specialized seed. I know you can get seed locally at several of the home and garden centers, the mills, things of that nature, but If there's some special mixes you're really not finding in the local stores, you may want to pull out your garden catalogs. Johnny Seed, Park Seed, High Mowing Organic, Carolina Seed. There's a lot of different seed companies. You can order, lots of options. There's different varieties of corn, salad mixes, lettuce mixes, pumpkins, tomatoes, peppers, you name it. You can find them. You can always order these either, you can tear out, use the order form, mail it in. You can also call it in or use the internet, place your order online. Typically, a lot of these companies like Park Seeds, when they receive your order, if it's online, they'll ship the same day. But typically, I would want to order at least a couple weeks before I was planning on planting to make sure the seeds are in on time. So, and when it warms up, you get some of those warm days in March, you're going to be wanting to get out there and plant some salad, some lettuce mix, onions, whatever, the early crops. So now's a good time to go ahead and sit down, make out your list, leaf through your catalogs, and place your orders. Kind of do a little planning, get it done, so come planting time, you'll have your seed and you'll be ready to go. So order those seed today. Well, one thing that's pretty much a misnomer is a lot of people think that you need to top your trees for your trees to remain healthy, and there's really nothing further from the truth than that. Topping trees when unnecessary is not a good practice. Sometimes you have to prune trees because you planted the wrong tree under a power line, or you've got diseased or maybe broken limbs hanging, or you planted a tree too close to a house and you've got some big limbs hanging over your house. In those cases, maybe you have to prune, but pruning trees is really not a healthy practice if you don't have to. At the Extension Office, we do have a good pamphlet on why topping trees hurt, and there are several reasons why topping trees is harmful. Like I say, there are several reasons that topping tree hurts. Some people call topping heading a tree or hat racking a tree or rounding over, but really when you top a tree, it stresses them. Topping often removes 50 to 100% of the leaf-bearing crown of the tree. The leaves really are food factories of a tree, and when you top all that off, it can temporarily starve a tree. The severity of pruning triggers a sort of survival mechanism, and the tree activates a lot of latent buds, and it forces rapid growth of multiple shoots below each cut. If a tree does not have stored energy reserves to do this, it'll seriously weaken and it may die. A stressed tree is more vulnerable to insect and disease infestations. Topping very often does cause decay in trees. Topping can lead to sunburn because it removes those branches and all those leaves that absorb the sunlight, and now the sun's beating down on the main trunk or stems of a tree, so you can create sunburn. It also makes a tree ugly. The natural branching structure of a tree is way nature made trees, and if you cut all the limbs back, you're going to deform that shape that you'll never ever get back. So it deforms and makes trees ugly. Topping is expensive. Sometimes you may have to, like I say, a power line or right over a house or something of that nature, but if you don't have to, topping a tree, it's very expensive. It's not limited to what the perpetrator is paid. If the tree survives, it will require pruning again in a few years, so it creates an ongoing expense. So really, topping is a high maintenance pruning practice. There are times, like I say, where a tree needs to be reduced in height or spread, providing clearance for utility lines. But there is a way to do this. There's recommended techniques where branches should be removed back to the point of origin where you don't lose the full shape of your tree. And sometimes the best solution is to remove the tree and replace it with a species that is more appropriate for the site. So if you do have to do some heavy pruning on trees in your yard, it's often suggested that you hire an arborist. They are professionals and they can determine the type of pruning that's necessary to improve the health, appearance, and safety of your trees. So really, if you have to prune, do it, but really topping trees only harms trees. It does not help them in any way. Well, I hope you've enjoyed our February garden calendar. I want to put in a few advertisements here before we wrap things up. One of those is our Master Gardener class. Every spring we have a Master Gardener class in conjunction with the Caldwell County Extension Service, and we usually have a class of 15 to 18 Master Gardeners, and it's a 13-week session. The cost is $100, which includes your notebook and materials, field trip expenses. As far as the list of classes, the schedule has been set. We're going to have a botany class, propagation, soil fertility and composting, vermicomposting, landscape design and houseplants, insects and diseases, tree fruits. We're going to have a garden tour and talk about pruning and bonsais. We're going to have a session on garden wildlife. We're going to also have a session on vegetable gardening and community gardening, a session on woodland trees and wetlands, a session on weeds, which would also cover IPM and pesticide safety. Then we're going to have a walking garden tour of several perennials and ornamentals. And then our wrap-up field trip will be at Stowe Botanical Garden. So if you're interested in joining the Master Gardeners, 40 hours of training, contact us here at the Extension office and get signed up. We always fill up, so you want to get your name on the list soon if you want to learn a lot more about gardens in many different ways. Also, the other item I did want to mention is this time of year, the Extension Service does our annual plant sale. And this year, we do have forms at the office. You can also catch it online. The form is downloadable online, or you can call and order plants. But the plants will be in mid-March for pickup. Plants that we do have for sale are blueberries, 4 different varieties, $6 a plant. They're containerized plants. We also have a new variety, a pink lemonade, which is a larger plant, a 3-gallon plant. It'll be $16. We have strawberries, $6 for 25 plants. Blackberries, $5 per plant, 2 varieties. Raspberries, $5 a plant, 2 varieties there. We also have figs. Figs are $15, 2 varieties there. Apples, a couple varieties that are good trees that are, have some disease resistance. They're $19. Couple Asian pears, $19 each, and muscadines. We have a couple of varieties of muscadines, $8 each, and we do have pawpaws this year for a first time, and pawpaws are $19 a tree. So if you want to order any of those plants, go online, check out our order form, or just give us a call or stop by and get a form. But remember, here at the Cooperative Extension Center, we're located behind First Baptist Church and directly beside the health department, 376 First Avenue Southwest. Also, you can call us or reach us on phone at 828-632-4451, or you can catch us on the web, alexanderextension.com.